As Burkina Faso emerges from years of instability, a powerful transformation is underway, one driven by the bold vision of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. His leadership, rooted in sovereignty and self-determination, has awakened a long-sleeping nation and ignited a movement defined by action, not promises. Since taking power in late 2022, Traoré has launched a wave of ambitious national projects, from roads and hospitals to schools and farms. Military upgrades, industrial investment, and youth empowerment are reshaping every corner of the country. This isn't political theater, it's real, visible change, sweeping through a nation that once struggled for recognition. We're taking a look at the 10 mega projects driving Burkina Faso's rise, each a reflection of national pride and forward momentum. One of these alone generated $3.8 billion in 2023, a stunning achievement that sends a clear message. Burkina Faso is no longer silent. It's reclaiming its place on the global stage, walking into the future with dignity and purpose. In a country once grounded by conflict and challenges, the skies are now becoming symbols of progress. The national airline, Air Burkina, was grounded for 6 months, but on October 2, 2024, it returned to service with a renewed sense of mission, launching its inaugural flight from Ouagadougou to Dakar via Bamako. This wasn't just about flying again, it was a national declaration. With a brand new Embraer E190 aircraft, secured through diplomacy during the China-Africa Forum, Burkina Faso announced its return to the skies. The aircraft, valued at around $19 million, offers both business and economy seating, and its short runway capabilities are ideal for expanding regional connectivity to cities like Accra and Abidjan. Plans are already in motion to expand the fleet, ensuring that aviation becomes not only a mode of travel, but a tool for national development and trade. Further west, a second aviation milestone is in motion. Bobo Dioulasso International Airport is undergoing an 80 billion CFA francs transformation, turning it into a modern regional hub. With new terminals, upgraded runways, and expanded aircraft zones, the airport is expected to handle more than 1.5 million passengers annually. Beyond air travel, this upgrade is designed to fuel economic growth, enhance tourism, and create stronger connections throughout West Africa. The most significant airport development lies 35 kilometers northeast of the capital. The new Ouagadougou-Donsin International Airport is nearing completion. Built to replace the aging and congested Thomas Sankara International Airport, this facility includes a 3.5-kilometer runway, expandable to 4 km, and a terminal capable of processing up to 1 million passengers per year. Despite setbacks caused by past political instability and failed foreign concession deals, construction is now more than 80% complete. With sustainable infrastructure at its core, the project features low-carbon concrete developed with the local institutions and will include a 25-megawatt solar power station with battery storage, significantly reducing dependence on imported electricity. In just a few years, Burkina Faso's aviation sector has shifted from near collapse to an engine of national progress. Air Burkina is flying again. Bobo Dioulasso is evolving into a trade and tourism hub. The new capital airport is a symbol of resilience and future-facing innovation. Where once the country watched others fly overhead, it is now building the runways and controlling the skies. But while jets take off, real sovereignty is grounded in what happens below, in the soil, the factories, and the hands of the people. Captain Ibrahim Traoré knows that a strong air fleet means nothing if the nation cannot produce, process, and feed itself. So while the engines roar overhead, a quieter revolution is rising on the ground. Burkina Faso is no longer relying on handouts or foreign-led solutions. It is investing in its own land, its own industries, and its own citizens. In the heart of the nation, a new cashew processing plant has been built, not just as a facility, but as a national landmark for self-reliance and transformation. Backed by $11 million in investment, the plant is expected to create employment for over 20,000 people, with forecasts of up to 50,000 jobs. By keeping the full value chain of cashew production within the country, Burkina Faso is cutting out dependency on foreign processors and returning profits to local hands. This is only the beginning. In Bobo Dioulasso, a new chapter is being written in local industry. There, a fully locally funded tomato processing factory has risen, thanks not to foreign investors but to the people of Burkina Faso. Villagers, local communities, and even members of the diaspora contributed over 7.5 billion CFA francs, around $12 million, to make it a reality. This facility now processes up to 100 tons of tomatoes a day, 800 kilograms per hour, and is expected to generate more than 8 billion francs in revenue over the next 5 years. It provides 187 direct jobs and more than 10,000 indirect opportunities, benefiting farmers, transporters, traders, and families across the region. For decades, farmers faced devastating post-harvest losses due to poor storage and weak infrastructure. Now, these factories are solving that. More importantly, they are restoring dignity to the country's smallholder farmers by placing value on what they produce. This isn't a series of isolated wins. It's part of a broader national offensive, what the government has called the agro-pastoral offensive, spanning 2023 to 2025, with over 78 billion CFA francs invested. In May 2024, a massive distribution campaign swept across the country. Over 400 tractors, 339 motorcycles, 710 motor pumps, and hundreds more transport bikes were handed to local producers. But it didn't stop at machines. The government also delivered 10,000 tons of fish feed, nearly 7,000 tons of fertilizer, 10,000 liters of phytosanitary products, 18,000 tons of vegetable seeds, 300 tons of forage seeds, and 10,000 tons of animal feed. These were not handouts. These were tools of empowerment, meant to make the country food secure, productive, and independent. To ensure a new generation can continue this work, President Traore launched an ambitious training initiative called the Agro-Civil Pastoral Technology Incubator in Barse. Every student in the program receives 2 hectares of land, access to water, seed supply, and equipment. It's not charity. It's a commitment to a future built by the country's own youth. In March 2025, the initiative grew even further. A 200 million training program was launched to target 8,000 young people in its first phase. More than 20,000 participants enrolled in intensive agricultural training with the promise of land, support, and the resources to launch their own ventures after graduation. This is a strategy, not survival, a blueprint for how to move from foreign dependence to national ownership. The country is not begging. It is building, but building a future also requires building a financial system that supports it. And so, in October 2024, the government launched the Burkina Faso Post Bank, BPBF, in Ouagadougou, a vision first imagined in 1988, now finally made real under Captain Traoré, with an initial capital of 15 billion CFA francs, roughly $25 million. The bank is designed not just for profit, but for participation. It's meant for the people, youth, women, farmers, and small businesses who have been shut out of traditional finance for decades. From savings accounts to microcredits to digital banking, BPBF is providing access where it's needed most, in rural villages and urban centers alike. It's not just a financial institution, it's a door being opened. And while the government looks ahead to the future, it is also honoring those who paved the way. In Bobo Dioulasso, a state-of-the-art geriatric hospital is being built, the first in the nation's history. With a budget of 1.7 billion CFA francs, this facility will provide specialized care for elderly citizens and retirees, those who once built the country with their hands and labor. Over 95,000 retirees and surviving spouses will now benefit from free annual medical checkups and essential medication vouchers. This is not welfare, it is justice, a way of saying that service deserves more than a thank you. It deserves care, dignity, and lasting respect. Together, the launch of the Post Bank and the building of the geriatric hospital show a development model designed for all generations. from the young entrepreneur with a vision to the elder who once lifted bricks. But development doesn't stop with finance or medicine. The future of Burkina Faso is also being shaped in its schools, its classrooms, and the minds of its children. In 2025, a major national policy was enacted: free education from primary school all the way through university. Brick by brick, child by child, the country is rebuilding itself, not just with structures, but with belief in its people. In June 2024, the government launched the Presidential Initiative for Quality Education for All, a 5-year plan to overhaul the education system. Across the country, 39 new university lecture halls, 44 modern high schools, and 10 vocational training centers are under construction. In regions once silenced by violence and instability, 250 new schools are being built. A new polytechnic university is also rising, one designed to serve students from across the nation. But beyond buildings, the system itself is being reshaped. Education is now completely free, removing financial barriers that kept thousands of bright minds from continuing their studies. Teacher training and curriculum reforms are also underway, turning classrooms into places not only of learning but of pride, responsibility, and civic growth. Meanwhile, the health sector is also being transformed. With support from China, Burkina Faso has opened the University Hospital Center of Pala, a 500-bed medical facility capable of conducting advanced procedures like cerebral angiography that were previously unavailable. A second hospital is under construction in Gawa, expanding access to the southwest and border regions. To reach more people, 15 mobile medical clinics have been deployed to rural areas, equipped with mammography, echography, and colonoscopy capabilities. Solar-powered refrigeration trucks and vaccine storage systems now preserve life-saving medicines across the nation. Under the Presidential Initiative for Health, 55 new community medical centers and 5 intensive care units are being built, expanding access, saving lives, and restoring public faith in healthcare. Even while building the future, the country is not forgetting its past. In the capital, Ouagadougou, a new national landmark is rising, a structure not built in memory of conquest, but in honor of courage. The Thomas Sankara Museum, commissioned by President Traore and designed by world-renowned architect Francis Kéré, stands on the very ground where Sankara and his comrades were assassinated in 1987. Covering 9,760 square meters and crowned by an 87-meter tower, the museum is a powerful tribute to ideals Sankara lived and died for: self-reliance, justice, unity. Visitors will walk a spiral ramp, retracing the journey of revolution until they reach a panoramic view of the capital. Around the tower are open green spaces, a media library, workshops, and even a restaurant shaped like Burkina Faso. This isn't just a museum, it's a living space of learning and resistance, a place where memory meets movement. It signals to the world that Burkina Faso will not erase its past. It will build on it. But even as memory is honored, reality must be improved. What good are schools if students sleep on floors? What's the use of clinics if patients are stranded between cities? What is memory without a home, a street, a future? That's why the government's transformation project has moved into the heart of the cities, into neighborhoods and streets. Where there were once dusty alleyways and makeshift shelters, there are now paved roads, green parks, and rising buildings. Displacement has long haunted Burkina Faso. Insecurity forced thousands from their homes. But the response has not been neglect, it has been construction. Over 1,000 social housing units are being built in key regions such as Centre Nord, Nord, Plateau Central, and Hauts-Bassins. Funded by over 5 billion CFA francs, these homes are not just shelter. They are stability, new beginnings for families who have endured too much. Infrastructure is the backbone of this new Burkina Faso. Roads are being restored, new ones are being built, connecting the forgotten to the future. Public parks and communal spaces are being revitalized to bring joy and connection back into daily life. Even the country's most symbolic spaces are being renewed. The August 4th Stadium, named after the day of Sankara's revolution, has undergone a sweeping renovation. home to the national football team. The 35,000-seat stadium had fallen into disrepair. But now, seating has been upgraded, the pitch rebuilt, lighting modernized, and high-tech screens installed to enable international broadcasts and nighttime games. Facilities for athletes, including changing rooms and VIP areas, have been completely modernized. Security and accessibility have also been strengthened. This is not cosmetic, it is cultural. A stadium is where people unite, cheer, and hope together. It is a symbol of collective pride. And now it reflects that pride once more. But none of it matters without power. A home needs light. A hospital needs electricity. A stadium cannot shine in darkness. All this concrete, these rooftops, these machines require energy. And that's where the country is now focusing its next major effort. Burkina Faso, long defined by its landlocked geography, is transforming its limitations into leverage. In 2023, a landmark deal was signed between President Ibrahim Traoré and Russian President Vladimir Putin, a $4 billion nuclear energy project in partnership with Russia's Rosatom. This isn't just about electricity, it's about evolution. By 2030, this nuclear plant is expected to meet all of Burkina Faso's electricity needs and even allow it to export power to neighboring countries. For the first time in its history, the country is positioning itself as an energy hub. The project includes much more than just a power plant. It brings with it training programs, public education campaigns, and new technical expertise. It's reshaping how the public understands energy, no longer as something fragile and foreign, but as something built and controlled at home. But the energy revolution doesn't stop there. In early 2024, Burkina Faso made another major move. It acquired the Tema oil terminal, a key hydrocarbon depot on Ghana's Atlantic coast. The 70 million acquisition gives the landlocked nation direct access to coastal fuel storage, removing its dependency on overland routes, vulnerable to political instability and logistical failure. This is strategic. With control over a functioning coastal fuel terminal, the country now has leverage. It strengthens its national hydrocarbon company and secures a smoother, more sovereign supply chain. To complement this, the country also commissioned a new domestic fuel storage facility in its western region, adding an additional 104,000 cubic meters of storage capacity. These upgrades matter in a country where, just 5 years ago, only 21% of the population had reliable access to electricity. Hydrocarbons for today, nuclear for tomorrow. These steps aren't just projects, they're turning points. They fuel industry, power agriculture, light up homes, and activate human potential. Burkina Faso is no longer a quiet observer in global energy politics. It is stepping boldly onto the stage, with plans, partners, and a fierce determination to make energy a right, not a privilege. But energy, no matter how abundant, is only as powerful as the infrastructure that delivers it. Burkina Faso isn't just producing energy, it's building the roads, rails, and ports to carry it. From nuclear plants to fuel terminals, from remote villages to growing urban hubs, the mission is clear. Sovereignty isn't a speech, it's structure, movement, and access. For decades, this connection held the country back. As of 2022, more than 6 decades after independence, Burkina Faso had fewer than 4,000 kilometers of paved roads. That number told a painful truth: isolation, missed trade, missed education, missed opportunity. But that story is changing fast. Under President Traoré's leadership, the government has launched one of the most ambitious infrastructure drives in its history. The goal is stunning: 50,000 kilometers of new roads by 2029. But what's more revolutionary is how it's being done, not by handing contracts to foreign companies, but by arming local engineers with the tools to build their own future. Over 900 road-building machines have been procured, and they are in Burkinabe hands. Roads are now reaching places that once felt invisible. Villages cut off by distance or insecurity are now connected. Markets are reachable. Children can attend school without walking through wilderness. Patients can reach clinics. These roads don't just carry cars, they carry hope. And the transformation doesn't stop on land. In Bobo Dioulasso, the second largest city, another massive initiative is reshaping the national landscape. A 253 million dry port. Strategically located near the borders of Côte d'Ivoire, Mali, Ghana, and Niger, this inland port will revolutionize trade logistics. Equipped with modern terminals, warehouses, and customs systems, it will make Burkina Faso a powerful commercial hub in West Africa. For a landlocked country, this is more than infrastructure, it's freedom. Goods that once took weeks to clear customs will now flow smoothly. Local producers will have a direct path to international markets. Trade costs will fall and new opportunities will rise. But the movement doesn't stop at the highway or even the port. It runs on rails too. Enter Faso Rail, a bold national railway initiative with a singular vision: to connect all 45 provinces of Burkina Faso by train, not just tracks and locomotives, but lifelines. Trains that will carry produce, goods, tools, fuel, and people, connecting cities, towns, and villages in one steel network. This isn't just about transportation. It's about unity, food security, and national cohesion. Faso Rail will shrink distances, economic, geographic, emotional. It will link the country in a way that textbooks and speeches never could. Together, these projects, roads, ports, rails, form the arteries of a rising nation. From dry deserts to city intersections, from abandoned villages to booming borders, a new Burkina Faso is being stitched together in stone, steel, and strategy. But movement alone isn't enough. What's the point of a new road if it leads to a factory owned by outsiders? What good is a port if it only brings in foreign goods? What use is a train if it hauls nothing made by local hands? Burkina Faso understands that sovereignty must run deeper than roads. It must be built into every brick, woven into every thread, and poured into every mold. That's why the next phase of transformation is all about production, cement, textiles, and technology. In March 2025, President Traore inaugurated a massive cement plant in the Plateau Central region. The factory, created in partnership with Chinese investors, has a production capacity of 1,000 tons per day. But beyond numbers, it represents something far more powerful: industrial independence. This factory replaces dependency with capacity. Instead of importing cement from abroad, Burkina Faso now builds with its own hands. It's a shift in mindset, from waiting to creating, from begging to building. It spans over 12.5 hectares, uses modern, energy-efficient technology, recycles used cement bags, and is partially powered by renewable energy. Hundreds of jobs have already been created, and momentum is spreading. At the same time, Burkina Faso is taking its place as the leading cotton producer in Africa and turning that raw material into national pride. The Force National Center for Artisanal Textile and Garment Production is now in full operation. Every police and military uniform is now made locally. No more imports, no more outsourcing. Burkina Faso is dressing itself with confidence and purpose. In the courtroom, colonial wigs are gone. Lawyers wear traditional African garments, bold, symbolic, and rooted in identity. In classrooms, school children now wear Faso Dan Fani, the iconic local textile. Introduced by presidential decree, it has become a fabric of pride, unity, and heritage. In the markets, one thing is gone: second-hand clothing. The government has banned imports of used clothes. Burkina Faso refuses to wear the hand-me-downs of other nations. It will wear its own story, woven by its own people. But this revolution is not limited to cloth or concrete. It accelerates silently, on 4 electric wheels. In a small workshop in Ouaga 2000, something remarkable was born. Ito, Burkina Faso's first fully indigenous electric car. Engineered entirely by Burkinabe talent, the car has a 330-kilometer range, a 30-minute fast charge, and solar-ready capabilities. It's not just a vehicle, it's a symbol of technological possibility. Two flagship models, the Native and the SF, have been unveiled. Smart, sleek, and built for the African road. GPS, Bluetooth, and renewable charging stations included. For a nation once thought incapable of high-tech innovation, this is a bold new road. But where there are cars, there must be water. Where there are factories, there must be life. Sovereignty isn't only about what you build, it's about how you live. In partnership with the African Development Bank, Burkina Faso launched a $48 million national initiative focused on water and sanitation, not as charity, but as survival strategy. Across rural towns and forgotten villages, 60 drinking water systems are being built or upgraded. Over 110 high-capacity boreholes are being drilled deep into the ground, delivering clean water where it's never been. More than 13,500 family toilets are under construction, improving hygiene, saving lives, and restoring dignity. Over 500,000 people will directly benefit from these changes. And the goal? Universal access to clean water and sanitation by 2030. But in Burkina Faso, water means more than hygiene. It's food, income, and life. At the Samandeni Dam, a fish stocking operation is underway. Its goal, 70,000 tons of fish every year. That's tens of thousands of new jobs, millions of meals, and renewed purpose in communities long left behind. In a country once too dry to feed itself, the water now feeds the people and the economy at once. And while water flows underground, another kind of wealth is being reclaimed from beneath the soil: gold. For too long, Burkina Faso's gold had been a story of exploitation. Foreign companies mined it, exported it, refined it abroad, and pocketed the profits. The people saw the scars of the mines, but none of the rewards. That era is ending. Under President Traoré, Burkina Faso is taking full control of its mineral wealth. In late 24, the country inaugurated its fourth gold refinery, built in partnership with Marina Gold. With the capacity to refine 150 tons of gold annually, it's no longer about digging gold. It's about owning the value chain. Jobs are being created, 100 directly at the refinery and over 5,000 indirectly. The gold that once vanished into foreign vaults now flows through Burkinabe hands and into Burkinabe futures. And in August 2024, the government took an even bolder step, nationalizing two of its most strategic gold mines, Bango and Wagnion. These mines were once controlled by a foreign African company. Now, for $80 million, they are state-owned. Criticized by some international players, celebrated by the people, it was more than a transaction. It was a declaration. Burkina Faso's resources will no longer enrich others at the expense of its people. In 2023 alone, the country produced over 58 tons of gold, worth $3.8 billion. That wealth is now being redirected through local refineries into national reserves and toward national prosperity. But this mineral revolution isn't only about economics, it's about sovereignty. The deals are changing. The partners are shifting. Burkina Faso is moving away from traditional Western alliances, many of which were rooted in colonial structures. In their place, the government is forming new strategic partnerships, most notably with Russia. In 2023, a gold mining permit was granted to Russia's Nordgold. Around the same time, the Russian embassy reopened in Ouagadougou, 31 years after its closure. Meanwhile, French troops were ordered to leave. Operation Sabre, France's last military mission in the region, was officially shut down, and in a cultural earthquake, French was dropped as the country's official language. Indigenous languages were elevated instead. The shift is clear. This is no longer a nation requesting permission. This is a nation asserting its identity. A national gold reserve is being created. A state-owned mining company, Société Nationale de Participation Minière, SOPAMIB, has been established. These are not symbolic moves. They are the final pieces in a structure designed to protect what belongs to the people. This is not the Burkina Faso of yesterday. Today, the country is financing the underserved, treating the forgotten, training the young, and honoring the old. It's refining its minerals, its policies, and its sense of self. It's not just digging for gold, it's mining dignity. It's not waiting for development, it's designing it. From clean water in dry villages to electric vehicles on dusty roads, from teachers in reformed classrooms to gold smelters in state-run refineries, Burkina Faso is moving forward on its own terms. This is not just a transformation, this is a declaration of purpose, and it's only the beginning.